Good morning, everyone. And I'm just trying to get the camera up. 1 second, there we go. Yes, I believe I'm being seen now. Yes. So good morning, everyone. And on behalf of my Executive Secretary, Mr. Jose Manuel Salazar Surinach, and my director, Diane Qualis, ECLAC is really pleased to be part of this experience here, these past 4 webinar experiences, and certainly the opportunity we have today to make a presentation today. I want to thank our colleagues at the Department of Economic and Social Affairs and the Caribbean Center for Development Administration. I'm going to get straight into this as we go, and today I'm going to be talking about harnessing the potential for AI to create public value in the Caribbean. And I'm sure as public administrators, we're familiar with the term, but just in case, let's just touch on this a little bit. So what we know and are clear about is that AI is certainly changing the way government functions. At its core, AI can process large amounts of data in relatively short periods of time. It introduces new possible uses for technology and provides additional pathways for leveraging these benefits, including the opportunity to now look and generate new insights from the analysis of these large data sets. AI ultimately has the potential to transform every sector that generates or is reliant on large amounts of data, including the public sector, which is one of the larger. Governments across the world are seeking ways to benefit from the analytical capabilities of AI systems and to further the goals of increased efficiency, reduced cost, and improved quality of service to citizens. And I've noted that the expression, the citizen, has come up quite often in our deliberation thus far today. We looked late last year, we ran across a study from the Oxford Insights, where they looked at the AI readiness of governments around the world. And at ECLAC here, we have a subset of the Caribbean that we characterize as the Caribbean Development and Cooperation Committee, and there are 16 member states there. And it was interesting for us to discover that of these 16 countries, only the Dominican Republic is above the world average ranking, as ranked, of course, by the Oxford Insights. Bahamas is just above the Latin American and Caribbean average, and Jamaica is just below that average. Everybody else is notably below even the Latin American average. Now, why is the Dominican Republic, what accounts for the Dominican Republic being able to achieve this ranking? Well, there are at least 4 things. First of all, they have a national AI strategy. Secondly, that strategy is supported by an appropriate legislative framework. There's digital capacity within the government, and there's the government adaptability. Let's shift gears now to the issue of public value. Now, public value is a fundamental principle in governance. It's about creating value for the common good, taking into consideration what the citizen sees as valuable and the value an organization brings to the public sphere. It is citizen-centric. Public administrators are strategically seeking to create public value through democratic and collaborative governance and citizenship to deliver quality public services. Creating public value requires clarity about the strategic goals being pursued, legitimacy from a coalition of stakeholders, and operational capacity to implement effectively. And just to comment on this goes back to the previous comment about ensuring that there is appropriate human capital to support any kind of technology. So under the paradigm of public value, when governments are considering deploying AI-enabled services, it is important that the needs of citizens are seen as the primary beneficiaries of these public services, and that remains paramount in all deliberations. There was a term called the new public management paradigm. The thing is, it's called the new, but it's certainly not the new in 2024. And that paradigm or model emphasized inputs and outputs. So it, as you see there in the figure, it dealt with what were the inputs, the means, how did we process it, what are the activities and processes, and what were the outputs. And that was the way in which public administration is seen. Today, within the context of public value, if I could call it, I'll use value twice. So the public value chain is now extended to move into the realm of outcomes rather than mere outputs. So we talk now about the effects and trust and legitimacy. And as with any technology, today we're speaking about, in this presentation, I'm speaking to the issue of AI. It should not be just about or be implemented with the objective of optimizing performance, effectiveness, and efficiency gains. Rather, it is essential and imperative to consider the effects on the citizen and their well-being. The United Nations Broadband Commission, the ITU, and UNESCO in 2022 prepared the Artificial Intelligence and Digital Transformation Report, and speaking specifically to competencies for civil servants. And I just want to highlight the following. One, that every public servant must have some form of AI-related competency. That's what they call it for. And that competency should allow for, one, the development and use of AI systems, finding new ways of working with artificial intelligence, changing traditional work procedures, and imagining new solutions to old challenges. Artificial intelligence systems must be integrated in a structural manner while aiming at changing mindsets. They further articulated 3 competency domains and 5 complementary attitudes. In terms of the competency domains, the digital planning and design domain, within that context, civil servants are enabled to understand the complexity of today's problems, anticipate unexpected events, and recognize strategic opportunities to use digital solutions and develop strategies and visions. Under the second domain, data use and governance, civil servants are enabled to understand the fundamental role and value of data, the inherent risks associated with data, the use, analysis, and the sharing of data, taking into consideration ethical, privacy, and security concerns. And in the final domain, digital management and execution, civil servants are enabled to understand innovative project management and collaboration practices, as well to use data and technology to address complex problems and foster new modalities for civic participation in digital transformation and digital governance. The 5 attitudes are trust, creativity, adaptability, curiosity, and experimentation. And our webinar last week, I think it was Christina who spoke about this issue of experimentation and curiosity in her presentation. So again, this is what is required from civil servants to really advance and harness the potential of artificial intelligence. Now we have this model that presents the ways in which public value intersects various aspects of the public sector. If we look at the upper sphere, the managerial model, we're talking there about economic and administrative dimensions. That's where public administrators emphasize the economic and administrative logistics of optimization to achieve efficiency and productivity gains. On the lower sphere, where we are speaking there about democratic and citizen dimensions, the emphasis is on ensuring that public services are delivered to address the needs of citizens, including the need for ethical and transparent responsiveness and accountability. Within this framework, it remains that the adoption of AI within the public sector, with its transformative qualities, should continue to advance public value creation. Now, one of the things that, what then do we do with this? Okay, so it's great to know that there's this model and that we can look at it. But it's important to go one step further to really affect or to achieve public value creation. It's really important that administrators conduct a public value mapping of artificial intelligence to look at the benefits, or to identify the benefits, potential benefits, threats, and risks associated with adopting artificial intelligence. And I will just briefly, literally just call some terms for the lower sphere of what could be some of the expected results of such an indicative mapping. For instance, looking at the democratic dimension, an important benefit that is likely to accrue is citizen interaction. So the fact that we could have things like chatbots and other artificial intelligence-driven facilities that help to improve the interaction with the citizens. There are some threats. We could have issues of accountability, issues with cooperation, whether we are going to, should we ensure that all of the public sector is really pursuing a homogeneous approach to artificial intelligence, which speaks to the presence or absence of a national AI strategy to ensure that citizens are not confused and having to learn different systems. There are risks as well of transparency, the issue of unexplainable AI, these black boxes. You put data in and you have no idea about what was the methodology used to come out with the outcomes on the other side. Trust, and it could also impact democracy, the issue of deep fakes. On the citizen dimension, some benefit there would be service quality, the ability to analyze large amounts of data beyond what is humanly possible within a short period of time. Personalization, the ability, excuse me, of AI to personalize the interaction with citizens based, so you end up with a familiar face, as it were. Accessibility anytime and anywhere. What are some threats? Well, service quality is also a potential threat. Supplemental data might be used to analyze the data, but this could raise questions of quality assurance and ownership. Some risks could be data quality, whether it's accurate, loss of jobs, and I'm not just speaking about menial tasks. What about paraprofessionals whose function could be described as routine and repetitive analysis? Those may be taken over by artificial intelligence. But again, an indicative, this kind of public value mapping is important to understand what is before us within the public sector. So what are some key recommendations that we would want to advance? First of all, well, there are several, but I'll just speak to three. Develop national artificial intelligence strategies. It's important that we have the requisite policy framework, and I would go further and say legislative framework to support the advance of artificial intelligence and do it from the outset rather than it be a response to something that has already arrived. So be more deliberate and intentional. Secondly, assess the artificial intelligence adoption effectiveness within the public sector. And to continue on the point that was made just now by Jewel, I think it was, develop national AI capability to ensure the requisite human resources to drive all aspects of AI adoption within the public sector. As I come to the end, I want to just speak briefly about what ECLAC has been doing, what we have, well, where we are in this space. So over the past 3 years, we've been engaged in a multi-year research on digital inclusion and digital public goods. Since October of last year, a core component of our research focus has been on artificial intelligence. We published in October last year the focus article on artificial intelligence for Caribbean sustainable development, and you're invited to come to our website to view that and our other research. And right now, we are currently engaged in a study on Caribbean artificial intelligence readiness. And the aim of this study is to understand the state of knowledge and AI readiness in the sub-region and to further advance digital government efforts. Now, to complement this study, we are also conducting a public sector readiness survey. And we are administering this survey to all policymakers and decision makers in the public sector to understand the level of AI awareness and readiness, and to solicit your insights and recommendations for responsible AI adoption. We are seeking multiple and encourage and welcome multiple in-country perspectives on this topic. So you have the link there, you have the QR code, and I know we have a number of public administrators here. We have a number of policymakers and decision makers in our midst. So I encourage you to, first of all, freely respond individually and to share the link or QR code of this survey to other policymakers and decision makers within your various ministries and public sector agencies of your government. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for your time and attention, and I'm also available to answer any questions you may have. A good day to all.
Okay, thank you.